Everybody, welcome to Stack Your Points. Thanks for watching and listening. And this is the Friday Q&A segment. So your questions, we answer them, sometimes up to an hour, sometimes it creates its own episode in and of itself. So if you have questions, always feel free to drop them on the YouTube channel or email us at stackyourpoints@gmail.com. But we hope you enjoy this week's Q&A session. Thanks for watching and listening. Welcome to another episode of Stack Your Points. I'm Matt from the Matt Lawson YouTube channel and joined, as always, by RJ from DTech Cards. RJ, how are you this week?
I am good. It's the day after the Super Bowl, so I had today off because I take it off as a national holiday every year because it should be.
I respectfully disagree on that stance, but I can understand it. Also joined by Tariq from Reek's Rewards. Tariq, how are you today?
Doing good. At the day of the recording, it is a San Antonio holiday, specifically university holiday, unofficial. It is Let's Go 210 day for anybody that follows University of Texas at San Antonio. Birds up. I am wearing UTSA top and bottom because I love my school probably more than I should. But you know what? We're here. Hey, meep, and they're the reason why I get good money and justify doing this podcast and being in the game. So I owe a lot to them.
Please let it be known that the Acme Company does not sponsor the Stack Your Points podcast in any way, shape, or form at this time. Finally, we're also joined by the only other person on the podcast who probably didn't watch the game last night, Lonnie from the Call Me Lonnie channel. How are you today, Lonnie?
I actually did watch part of the game. And I think we need to finally put it to rest. Kendrick won. Okay.
I want Kendrick to do another victory lap because why not? That was fun.
Like when your diss record wins record of the year at the Grammys, and then 7 days later is performed at the Super Bowl where you have millions of people screaming A minor. Kendrick won, y'all. It's over. No more debate. There's no more debate. Kendrick won.
We're gonna have the Drake stands talking about, Kendrick made his whole night about it. No, Kendrick made a diss track. Everybody loved it. And he's going to milk that thing until there's nothing left to milk because he's a businessman and that thing is making money.
I think Guinness
I don't know
World
who
Records,
either of these people are, and I think it's too late for me to ask.
I think Guinness World Records is knocking on Kendrick's door as the most popular diss record in the history of music.
Yeah, it's got potential to pass up Ether and No Vaseline, and I didn't think I'd ever say that.
Anyway, that's all I'm feeling, Matt.
Welcome to Hip Hop Corner with your hosts Lonnie and Tariq. No, that's completely fair. I'm gonna drop the hood there. So as always, we will jump into our viewer questions, just see what we can get out of these. Our first question comes from AP, who asks, "What is your favorite lounge you've ever visited? And what about it made your favorite?" And we'll have a side quest question for Tariq when we get to him. Lonnie, the most lounge experienced person on this podcast, your favorite lounge and what made it your favorite?
What's funny is that's actually a hard question, but I would have unfortunately there's three, and two of them are United Polaris clubs. I would say the Polaris Club in San Francisco was ridiculously great. It's huge. But then the one in DC, IAD Airport, was just calm and comfortable. So I will say that is my favorite lounge that I've been in for the aesthetic, the fact that it wasn't overpacked. Yet if you've watched my channel, you know I'm always on the hunt for a good cookie, and their buttered chocolate chip cookies were 11 out of 10. So I'd have to go with that one. Oh, and their salad bar wasn't a sad salad bar. It was a legit, actual salad bar. You could add cheese and ham and egg and stuff, like fresh carrot. Like, it was a legit salad bar. I got to give it to that one. And just for honorable mentions, the other one was, I don't even remember the brand, but it was a Priority Pass Lounge when I was in Taiwan Airport. And it was only because they had like ridiculously fresh and chewy udon noodles with this amazingly great broth. And so because of those two things, that's my number one and my number two that I can think of off the top of my head.
I'm just gonna say for the record for your Polaris Lounge that you had a good cookie and a good happy salad, which is surprising because
Yo.
you know.
Not all lounges, even Polaris lounges, have the cookies. There's a difference between like a frozen cookie that they just like thawed out and heated up, and there's somebody back there like with a wooden spoon, and like your Aunt May, like literally turning them suckers, hand cranking them, and then baking them like with love and extra care and a little sprinkle of sea salt. This was the latter. Like I'm in there like with the, come on, Tariq, let's just be real. Let's just be you and I for a moment. We're in there with the napkins, right? Folding them bitches up, getting on the airplane. I had like 4, 5, 6 of them. I'm not even kidding you. They were the absolute.
Hey, look, you got to do what you got to do. You can just go slide them real quick.
I'm only gonna say it once. I took a plate home.
hey, you know what? I can't fault you. If they that good, you know, go just have a little to-go box, a little makeshift to-go box.
All right, there we go. RJ, your favorite lounge. What made it your favorite?
Delta Sky Lounge at LaGuardia. It is giant. It is well lit, so it's got beautiful windows that let you see. It's got a lot of seating. The food has always been really nice when I've been there. I like it. I fly through LaGuardia for most of my connections, or I try to fly through LaGuardia for most of my connections. So for me, that's the one that I've been to by far the most, and I've never been disappointed. So that's my answer.
There we go. I've only been to 2 lounges, so neither are particularly my favorite. The club in New Orleans is very small but functional. The club in Charleston, South Carolina is bigger than the club in New Orleans. They were having sad salad day the day that I was there. It just is. Long wait to get in. Still had to spend some money at the terminal, is what it is. I'm looking forward to eventually plotting my way to Terminal B at LaGuardia to experience the Chase Sapphire Reserve Lounge. But I have to book a flight that's flying out of Terminal B, and lately I've been booking my flights out of JFK. So a little bit of an issue. But once I get to Terminal B, which is United, American, JetBlue, and who cares who else, I will report back as soon as I can get to the wonder that is the Sapphire Lounge at LaGuardia. Now, Tariq, there was a side quest question for you, but you've been to more lounges than me at this point. Maybe Tariq can say what lounge he is excited to visit and why.
Well, I guess I'll answer the first question, and I guess technically, yes, Matt, I've been to one more lounge than you. I've been to out of the 3 I went to, the best one was in Admiral's Club in DFW. I think it was by the Flagship Lounge. I can't remember. That was a blur, but I had a 3-hour layover. It was really comfortable, and it made the layover seem shorter than the 3 hours, and some really good hot food. But after talking to Lonnie, hearing Lonnie's answer is, I guess my lounge I'm looking forward to is the Polaris Lounge at IAD, because I try some of them cookies, man. Like, I'm gonna have a whole backpack full of cookies, and TSA's gonna look at me like, "What are you doing?" And I'm like,
mind your business. That's what I'm doing.
I'm like, subscribe to Stack Your Points, and you'll understand why.
Does the Blade Lounge count? Because the Blade Lounge is pretty nice as well, but that's not an airport lounge. It's a lounge before I got to the airport, though.
It's a lounge taking you to the airport. If you were like sitting on 34th Street before they flew you the 15 seconds to JFK.
Yeah. You know what? I don't think you just reminded me. I never uploaded that video. Maybe I'll do that.
There you go.
Members only.
Speaking of, I'll probably talk to you about the Surpass card a little later on. Yeah, so there we go. We'll move over to our next question. It comes from Jared T, who asks, so when watching reviews on Capital One, they're tricky being approved on credit card. So I have the Saver card. I want to add the Venture X. Will it help for approval odds if you focus most or all of your spend through the Saver card until I apply for the Venture X? They want my money. I'll always pay in full every month, so I would not have to have any interest, of course. RJ, you hold the Venture X. I think you're the only member of the panel who does. What was your approval process like for the Venture X?
I used the pre-approval tool until it said that I was pre-approved for the Venture X, and then I applied for the Venture X. I didn't have any cards with Capital One when I applied for the Venture X, so that changes my answer for this because I don't have a Saver card to do my spending with. Honestly, with Capital One, it can be so crazy because they don't like velocity, but they also don't like anything sometimes. It really feels like, somebody who has amazing credit and hasn't gotten a card in a year will get declined, and then somebody with like a 670, with 4 cards open in the past 12 months will get approved. Sometimes it just feels like a crapshoot. Honestly, use your Saver card, once or twice a month, do the pre-approval tool to see where you are. You can tell where you are with Capital One for what they're pre-approving you for. So if you're getting pre-approved for like the Quicksilver for good credit, and that's it, or the Platinum, their Platinum is not the Amex Platinum. It's very
No.
different cards.
No, it's a terrible card.
So, if you're getting pre-approved for the 4 good credit cards, you're probably not going to get a Venture X right then. Give it 6 weeks. Try it again. See, okay, now I'm getting a pre-approved for just the Saver or just the Quicksilver, not for the good credit ones, which are the bad version of these cards. No welcome offer, usually a higher interest. So sort of see where you are. You can track that with Capital One a little bit clearer than you can with some other issuers. That would be my suggestion. Don't apply for anything else. Sort of, if you really want the Venture X, if that's a card that's going to super work for you, do the pre-approval tool. Give it some time in between so you're not doing it like weekly, but give it 4 to 6 weeks between doing it. See where you are, go from there. There's not really another tool for Capital One other than that, and just get lucky one day.
That's fair. Reek.
So I have the Saver, and holy crap! I was honestly, well, in the mix of RJ's rant or answer, I
Not a
was just
rant.
curious. I did the pre-approval, and I don't know how, but I got pre-approved. So
Get the Venture X. Apply right now on this podcast.
No, hell no. I'm still scorned on the Sapphire, on my United Explorer, for crying out loud. Like, holding off on that. Anyway, yeah, even though Chase is probably like, you got your mind, buddy. But I have the Saver. I started with $1,000 limit. I was putting a lot of spin on it. I've only had I've had 3 credit limit increases on the card, 2 that I've requested, and 1 that they gave me. Each of them has been $100. So I don't know. That's why I was surprised about the pre-approval. Capital One likes me. And like I said, Capital One is kind of tricky, but for the most part, use the pre-approval link. And if you get lucky, strike when the iron is hot, because that iron will cool off very quickly.
So because the Venture X is a Visa Infinite, it's at least a $10,000 limit. So your limit for what you have on the Saver has 0 to do with if you'll get pre-approved for the Venture X. It's more to do sort of overall, but
I'm
yeah,
like it was just bucketed from when I applied
they
for it.
bucket like crazy. But yeah, so pre-approval tool. And then you'll be like Treek and you'll be like, oh my God, I got pre-approved for it. Who could have guessed?
Yeah, I did not get pre-approved. I think I did the pre-approval again like 3 weeks ago. So oops. I just did it right now, and they said they could not pre-approve me. That's fine. Whatever. Yeah, I would follow exactly what RJ said. Just follow the pre-approval tool. The pre-approval tool can give you some guides. If you do the general Capital One pre-approval and you're seeing the 4 good credits, that is not the time. If you're seeing an approval for a pre-approval for the Venture card, it's probably a good indication that you'll get pre-approved for the Venture X. Now the Venture X has its own little pre-approval page, which is separate from the other cards because they like to make the Venture X sound like a Halo card. They're producing it as a Halo card, so that's why they give it its own special treatment. But as long as you are following you're paying off your saver on time in full, statement credits, you're not doing anything too crazy with your cards, you should be fine. And if the pre-approval tool is showing you got the Venture X and you want the Venture X right then and there, apply. There's a strong, unlike other pre-approval tool, well, not really unlike other pre-approval tools, if you see it there, you're more than likely getting approved. There are other tools that will show you like some cards where it's like, hey, looks like you should be able to get this card, and you apply and other factors happen. Same thing can happen, but for whatever reason with Capital One, if they're showing that you're getting pre-approved, they want to give you the card right then and there. So grab it. Don't worry about where you are in your journey. If you are focused on the Venture X, as soon as the Venture X is available to you, grab it. So thanks, Jared, for that. Let's move on to our next question. This is coming from Double Animal Fries, who asks, this is a semi-basic question, but folks sometimes talk about wanting to stay in a bank's good graces. There seem to be some general best practices, but others more lender specific, like spend or velocity related. I've tried to think about this for my own strategy, but it is more nebulous than the clear XY rules, the 524 rule from Chase, or the, 2 and 90 rule from American Express, or the 4 or 5 or 6 cards with American Express, although apparently that's also flexible. Could you talk a bit more about this from your experiences, how it might vary bank to bank, when it might be priority for you, and why? We'll have RJ. Yeah, RJ, we'll start with you again for this question.
Okay, thank you. Here's how I stay in the bank's good graces. I use my credit cards as credit cards, and I don't do funky shit. That's it. That's all I do. Use my credit cards. I use them roughly for the categories on them or a catch-all. I use my cards, guys. Yes, there are cards that I don't use my Blue Cash every day at all. That's going to be canceled next month or April, whenever the 12 months and the 13 statement credit posts, that'll get canceled. So I'm not super worried about that one. But I just use my cards. I don't try to hack the world. I don't try to do funky stuff. I just use my cards. And I have never once in my 15, 20-ish years of having credit had an issue with the bank because I've just used my cards. It sounds simple, but really most people have problems with banks when they try to hit on 19. They're trying to get that little bit extra, and they do something funky, and that's when banks tend to shut them down.
Nope, definitely makes sense. Lonnie.
Yeah, I'm going to resonate with RJ on that one as well, but I'm going to go a little bit further. As she had mentioned, don't do anything that you're not supposed to do. Don't do anything nefarious. You got to live by the one of two rules: is don't do it or don't get caught. And chances are, if you do it, you're going to get caught. And you probably know what I'm talking about. The other aspect of it is, yes, each bank has their own, unwritten rule. I mean, it's written somewhere. It's like the Colonel's herbs and spice recipe. It's written somewhere. We just can't get access to it. Chase 524 is a bendable rule. I mean, I've beaten 524. There was a way around it. Amex has a very hard rule on that 5 credit card. So I don't know anyone that's gotten outside of the charge cards, which don't count, but the actual 5. So I would say that's a hard rule that we know of. But more importantly, it's, as RJ had mentioned, you got to use your cards. These cards are not a entertainment or something for the fun aspect. It's a business resource to them. It's a line item on how they make their profits and keep their shareholders and board members happy. And so it's very, very, very particular on who they're going to give those cards to make sure that they're going to get, not lose out on money and can make some of that money back. And so it's not just use your cards, but there's also use your credit. Like, where's your credit at? Where's your credit utilization at? How much credit do you have? How much credit are you using? So not how much have you used? Are you at 10%, 20% of your utilization? Are you actually using any of it? Because that would say, hey, why would we give this person a card if they're not using any of these cards? Going back to your part about the question about velocity, same thing. If you're applying for a bunch of cards and eventually, you hit your sign up bonus and within, call it the 90 days, your first 3 months, you stop using it on 91 days, like they can see that on your credit report when you put in your application. That's part of your credit history of like which accounts are open, which accounts are being used, which accounts have utilization on them. So if you're just applying for a lot and then they all kind of fall off, you might not seem like credit worthy enough for them to give you another card. Or, in my personal opinion, this is probably how most people end up in pop-up jail with Amex. Amex is like, yeah, we'll give you a card. We're not going to give you a welcome bonus because, the math doesn't math by giving you a welcome bonus, but you can have the card if you want it and just go on with your life. So not just your usage matters, your credit matters, your credit worthiness also matters. And I would think take all of that into consideration. And as long as, once again, you use the cards how they're supposed to be used, even after the sign-up bonus, I don't think you'll have a problem. You've heard many of us creators say, we've never been denied for a credit card or we've never had to issue or anything like that. That's probably because we are good credit card holders across all these different banks. And don't forget, they all talk to each other. They all play golf with each other and then go to brunch on Sundays. Like they all know who each other are. So it's not just Chase versus Amex versus Capital One versus Citi. It's all of them know each other. Trust me.
Yeah, absolutely. From my experiences, I can tell you I have not, when I've been denied for a card, it was not because I had broken something like Chase's 524 or American Express's 456 rule or American Express's 2 and 90 rule. It was things like, my velocity with the bank was maybe a little bit too fast with that particular bank. When I went for the Chase Ink Preferred, I'm sorry, no, I did not go for the Chase Ink Preferred ever. Geez. When I was accepted for the Chase Ink Unlimited, I tried to sneak in the Chase Ink Cash in the same like 90,000 point welcome offer bonus period. I was still either working on the Ink Unlimited welcome offer or I had just finished it. And I was then turning around and trying to get more credit. And they said, yeah, your business is pretty new. We don't think we should give you any more credit. Took me a couple more months. I eventually got the Chase Ink Cash, but that was just because, Chase was hesitant to extend me credit at that point. Now, if your velocity is super high, most times, as long as you're a good credit card user, you're fine. Velocity may or may not be a thing to super worry about. There are folks who can get multiple cards over multiple months, over multiple issuers. However, if you're not someone who can reliably cover that, don't do that. You're going to start falling into trouble in more ways than just getting denied for a credit card. So, it's definitely good to keep, the clear X and Y rules, but just also know that when these banks give you a denial, at the end of the day, they just have to give you a reason, whether or not that reason is true. And given some recent events, that's going to be much, much murkier. We'll see how those things line up in the next couple weeks. But, just have your clearest understanding at the time of your application, apply in good faith, and make sure that you have things like the X. If you are applying for an issue or with an issuer who has very set X and Y rules, that you're following X and Y. Like you're under Chase 524, or if you're at 524 and you have a means to call reconsideration where it's, hey, this was an authorized user card. Can you look past that and see if underwriting will allow for this? Sometimes they will, sometimes they won't, is what it is. But by and large, use your cards properly, know your rules when you're applying. And if you're concerned that you won't get approved, see if there's a pre-approval tool. If there is, and you get pre-approved for the card that you're looking for, go for it. If you don't, put it on ice for a couple weeks and then come back. Tariq, I know we put you last here, but any other thoughts on this question?
I was hoping I wouldn't have to talk about my denial again.
You don't have to.
Well,
you don't have to.
Well,
There's
I only
no-
say that. Hang on, hear me out. Yeah, I was saying it as a joke because there was also in my denial, I was hit with the velocity and a different, not always not heavily discussed chase rule. That's not like obviously outwardly discussed like 524. So I was hit with velocity because Chase saw me getting approved for a card and hitting a bonus after like a month. And Chase was like, what the hell, dude? We're not giving you any more cards. Valid. Other reason why, when I got my denial letter, was the amount of credit relative to my income, which that we usually talk about like the 50% rule, where Chase is probably only going to issue about your credit about 50% of what your stated income is. Off the top of my head, thinking about the limits, 10, 95, 75. So that's, you know what? Let's do some number crunching now that I'm thinking about it. Is like just on the personal, I have 27,000, and then adding on my business, yeah, I'm at 40,000, which is more than half of my stated annual income is all I'm going to say on that. So they were like, no. Which, thinking about that, potentially giving some more time, maybe seeing some more time between applications and my hard inquiries, calling to reduce the limit on my Freedom Flex and my Sapphire Preferred and my Amazon Prime Visa, because I really don't shop at Amazon enough to have the limit that I have, and maybe free up some space to try to apply for another card. But that's another one that is not stated, where if your limits are above, more like close to or above 50% of your stated income, hopefully you'll get a raise soon. But if not, you might want to start calling Chase and seeing if you can drop some limits, because then you can kind of do some wiggle room, which will also help with recon if they state that, because you could be like, hey, well, I have this stupid high limit on a Freedom Flex and I only use it for the quarters now. So can you drop it? Or your Sapphire Preferred, you're not putting spend on it, you're only using it as a means of transfer points. Can you drop it down to maybe even just the Visa signature limit of like 5K? So that's just something else to think about in my experience getting denied for you know what.
If you want to take things to an even further level with that, before you make the calls to reduce those limits, know how much you spend you're planning on putting on those cards. Make sure that whatever limit you're reducing down to, whatever your spend is going to be, is still like less than 30% of that limit.
Oh yeah, definitely. You don't want to hurt your utilization. I mean, if you can keep it below 10, it's even better. But hey, under 30 is the sweet spot.
Just to give yourself that cushion, just in case there's a crazy month or crazy couple months where your spend goes above that, goes up to about that 30% level. But yeah, no, that's all good. Yeah, so we'll move over to our next question. Our next question comes from Keith, who asks, now, before we jump into this, in the pre-show, we were a little confused by the question, Keith, so please let us know in the comments if we've gotten it wrong. We have interpreted it, I believe, as just basically taking one airline card, one hotel card, and just like copying it over to our preferred programs. So that's, I think, how we'll mostly answer it, but here's the question in full. If you could take one airline and one hotel, which hotel and airline cards would you create to match their competitor's card? Disregard the crazy point math versus redemptions. I'm just looking for structures, credits, benefits, and category multipliers, and why. Is just looking to copy another card, Xerox another card. I'm not looking to mix and match parts of cards with the outcome being a Frankenstein card. So, one airline, one hotel, copy a card from their competitors for that airline and hotel. So, Tariq, we'll have you start with this question.
All right, so I will start with I'll start with my hotel. And for me, I kind of think it's fairly simple. I'll take the Hyatt card and just make it the like kind of the earning and benefits of the IHG Premier, because for reasons that Lonnie and I have already discussed, that card is powerful. Not only with the earning, but also with the benefit. We can still keep the certificate like a Cat 1-4 instead of points, or even making it points. But just like the benefits are going to be fairly similar. And I would actually really like a travel bank credit, another travel bank credit with Hyatt to kind of work with that partnership. So that one would be great. Now with airline card, I would just take the United Club Infinite and give like the benefits that's on the Delta Reserve and just make it like United and Chase relevant. So instead of like Centurion Lounge, give me Sapphire Lounge. Give me the 15% off United bookings, the rideshare credit, the Resi credit. You can kind of make like a Chase dining credit, so it's not completely biting off Resi. And yeah, that would be a very powerful card, which would even be worth paying the extra annual fee for what you get for it. So yeah, IHG or Hyatt IHG combination, and then Delta benefits, turn them United and Chase for the Club Infinite.
All right. RJ, your approach.
I'm going to take the United Explorer card and I'm going to make it a Delta card because I want Delta plus X. And the Explorer card gets a 25% boost in mileage plus X. So if we make it Delta plus X because it's got a port over, then I get mileage plus X for Delta and I would be a very happy camper. It's also just a really, like, it would be a nice card to replace the gold in the lineup for Delta, because that would be about where it would. Even if it replaced the blue and you don't get a $0 Delta card, I would be happy. I think it's a good card. This feels like cheating, but I don't think it is. I'm taking the choice privileges card and making it a Hilton card because 30,000 points just for 95 bucks, that is great. And then you get the Elite Knights, you get the 10x for stays, the World Elite benefits, all of that. The World Elite benefits would be a little weird with Amex, but hey, nobody said it had to make sense. So the choice card as a $95 Hilton card, and then the United Explorer card as the $95 Delta card.
All right. Those could work. Lonnie.
So I have a unique idea for the airline, and I'm going to come back to that 1 second. But for hotel, because I had to pick something, so this is not a knock against it, but I would pick the IHG Premier as the card that I would steal some or whatever, do the transition to another card with. But I would do it as a premium hotel card in the essence of an Aspire or a Bonvoy Brilliant. Now, like I said, I don't have a problem with my IHG Premier card. One, because it doesn't come with a slew of credits I got to keep track of, and it's $99 annual fee a year. See what happens when you don't have all these credits? You get a very powerful card for a very low annual fee, which I think is great. But its competitors, maybe not Hyatt, but kinda, all have these 1, 2, 3 tiered card setups. With Marriott, you can start at silver, you can get a gold card, get gold status, get platinum status, not titanium. With Hilton, and it's literally silver, gold,
diamond.
diamond. Thank you, RJ. Silver, gold, diamond. Had a brain fart with all the colors, trying to keep them straight because I was like, Discover, it's global. It's like, wait a sec. But IHG does not have a premium card. Please don't make a credit card that's $500+ so I can get instant diamond status. Please don't. But
it's coming.
Shut up. It would be nice if they had it. If I had it to answer the question, if I could steal anything, I would steal that. But then I don't even to not fall into the trap of the second part of his question. I don't know what perks I would want from a premium IHG card at the same time. So we're not even going to get like bonus categories and credits and all the extra benefits and perks. Now, the airline side, don't touch my airline card. I ain't got a problem with my airline card. And I'm not stealing nothing from the other two major airlines in this country. But what I would do is exactly what I just said with hotel cards, but with airline. I would steal from a hotel card. So that way I can have an airline credit card that gives you instant flipping status with the airline. If I pay $500 plus $600 annual fee, I want to start off at gold or platinum with United. What does it cost to get 1K? And then when it comes to the PQP instead of the cap, I start at that head start. So instead of having to earn 1K, I know it's 28,000 now in 2025. Instead of having to start at 0 and then try to get to 28,000, even though I got a card that's starting me halfway through at gold, I want to start at 14. So think of it like a hotel card, and hotel cards don't do this either. So going back to IHG, takes 40 nights to get to platinum status. That was a bad example. Was it a bad example? All right, I'm speaking on the fly here. RJ's going to have a fun time editing this one out. Grab your popcorn. Anyway, like some hotel cards actually give you like a head start. Like Bonvoy will give you like the 5, 10, 15 elite nights to get started with. I would like to see that with the airline cards. So instead of starting at 0, I'm starting at that 5, 10, or 15, that halfway point in the case of United. I want to start off at 14K PQP. And then I still need to fly to get past all of that. But I have a significant head start versus just like the head start you get at the top of each year from having status, which granted, I'm not mad at. 10% of something's more than 100% of nothing, but 1,000, 2,000 PQP is not a lot when you have 28,000 that you need to hit for me to keep 1K. Now I'm speaking for me. That's my answer. Let's steal hotel card benefits and get instant status with an airline card in this country.
If you get the top 4 Delta cards, which I want to say is like $1,800, you will get gold status automatically, just based on all of the boosts.
That's like halfway there for $1,800.
I mean, you are getting Delta Gold, Delta Medallion Gold. I mean, it's not diamond, but it's not too shabby. And you're getting four companion passes.
You're getting more than that.
$1,800 in annual fees.
The reserve has more than 4 each, so you're getting a decent number. I don't have the math in front of me, but you're getting more than 0.
That's fair.
Okay, let's simplify my answer. Let's just steal a companion pass with United from anyone that gives companion passes.
There you go. There you go. All right. Hotel card. I would, if I could steal one hotel card and just move it over to, I'll say Hyatt, I would steal the Hilton Surpass. It's not nearly as powerful as the Hilton Aspire, but the Hilton Surpass earnings in Hyatt with Hyatt points would be amazing. Not just at, your Hyatt spend. It's not going to give you that highest tier status. Like Hyatt will fall down a flight of stairs before they give anyone Globalist on a credit card. But you could give Explorist in theory, and then it's 6 times points on dining, 6 times points on groceries, 6 times points on dining, groceries, gas, and EV, 4 times points on online shopping, 3 times points on everything else. Now we'll just photocopy that over. Just photocopy that over in this hypothetical world. I know the points math won't make sense, but we're not here for the points math right now. Surpass over $200 in yearly Hyatt credits broken up into quarters. Good luck figuring that one out. But I'm game, and it would come with Explorist. Yes, please. Yes, please. That would be the hotel card that I would swap over. Airline gets a little bit trickier. I was going to do the Aeroplan card and just move it over to JetBlue, but that is only incrementally better than the JetBlue card that I have at $95. Instead, I'm going to continue my ire at the terror that is the new JetBlue card at $499 and is just beyond pathetic. And I'm going to copy over the United Club Infinite card, because that is how you do a premium airline card with lounge access. If you're going to copy and paste and Xerox a card, don't Xerox your own card and make it $499. No, Xerox a real card and make it $499 or $525 in this case. Doesn't matter. Earnings, keep those the same. IHG credits or IHG Platinum, perfect. Spend instantly, great. Just
Wait, Matt, you don't like the JetBlue card?
I was surprised. I thought he didn't thoroughly enjoy it.
I like the JetBlue Plus card. JetBlue Plus card, more than fine. JetBlue Business card, more than fine. The JetBlue Premier is an atrocity. It is almost a war crime.
It's a United Club card, the only airline card that cares about getting your family into the lounge with you. I think it is. Yeah. That wasn't I wasn't like actually asking that question. That was more of a statement, y'all.
The American one, you can.
Delta stance is FYPM, and American stance is, I don't remember what American stance is with the executive card.
You got $50.
You can do a authorized user on the Delta Reserve, and then they get in, like, so. I mean, there are ways to do it.
How much does that cost, RJ?
$350.
The authorized user costs $350?
I believe so. Hold on.
Jeez.
No.
How much is the
No, sorry. I just did 2 of them. That's why my math is off. Sorry. I think it's $195. If
it's $350 for 2, it's $175 a pop.
Yeah, mine was slightly prorated, but yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I believe it's less, just a tick under 200. But if you're flying a couple of times a year, it's also $50.
But if I had 3 kids, would that $350 get, 2 parents and 3 kids, all family of 5 into the lounge?
I don't remember the status on kids because I don't have them, nor do I travel with them. I believe children should have their own airplane that I don't have to suffer being on one with. Wow. Except for Lonnie's son. I'm sure he's very well behaved, but the last few flights I've been on do not have well behaved children. And I'm sure Matt, your child, is excellently behaved, but I don't want to be on a plane with either of them. Well, you'll be on JetBlue and Lonnie will be on United, so I won't be on a plane with either of them anyway.
You won't.
Damn.
Now, I only bring it up because as long as they're your dependent children, no matter how many you have, they all get in on your United Club subscription.
Yes.
They walk right in with you as long as they're under the age of 21.
God, I want that card so badly.
Yeah, when they're 18, they can figure it out themselves. You can
No,
help them
United
if you
covers
want.
them to 21 as dependent children.
Ah,
So as long as
that's
they're
hilarious.
21 minus a day.
Nice.
It is
Um,
175 for the reserve authorized user card.
that's
Just
painful.
as a fact check. I paid it twice and I felt fine about it, but that's okay.
Yeah, the United Infinite, to my knowledge, is the one that is the only one that can get you in with pretty much a family of. It can easily fit a family of 3. Also, do a family of 4. I don't remember if you have to add an authorized user at that point, but an authorized user on the United Infinite is what, $0?
Yeah.
Boom.
And you get 5,000 miles for adding them. But they don't get their own club subscription, anything like that. So the main card holder has to go in for the family to go in. But for example, with my family, I'm not traveling without them in those types of scenarios. So it's not that big of a deal. But for example, for y'all that don't know, it was best for my wife to be the main card holder in our household, and then I'll be the authorized user. So I kept my United Explorer card. She not product changed. Well, she did. She got the Club Infinite card, product changed her Explorer down to the gateway for $0. So that way us as a whole family can get in. But like I said, I'm the authorized user. If I fly without her, which I do a lot, I can't use my card to get in. It does absolutely nothing for me. She has to be with me. And same thing with our son. Our son has to be with her for him to get in. Of course, I can use my Explorer card or pay or whatever, use one of my other cards. So that's why it was best for her to get the card versus me, because I got so many cards that already give me lounge access.
So real-time follow-up on the Delta Reserve, just so we don't get comments about it. You can bring in 2 guests with you. You can bring in spouse, domestic partner, or children under 21 for $50 each. So you can bring in as many kids as you want under 21 that are yours, but it's $50 a pop. So you better really like those kids.
That's another $150, RJ. So you got
That's just for the trip, not even for the car.
I'm
God.
saying it so the comments don't go wild on
Where
what
the hell
the
does-
you
rules
got
are.
350 plus
Again,
another
I
150.
don't have nor want children, so I don't have a problem with this, and I think kids should be banned from lounges anyway. Again, this is the burden of not having nor wanting children.
What, did Adam get a luxury travel card and brought his kids? Is that why you feeling that way, RJ?
No, I just don't like children around. I have my space, and I don't want children in my space.
There's a reason I said that Delta's policy was F you pay me. Because their policy is F you pay me.
And RJ's
Again,
response is
I
RJ's
don't
response is just
hate
F them
children.
kids.
I just don't want them around me. There's a difference there.
It's a very, very minuscule difference.
Difference.
Then you get into the lounge and they're like, all right, $5 for a drink, $15 for a burger.
Evan's just gonna rake you over the coals, man. This is ridiculous.
Here's our salad bar. You get the lettuce for free. Toppings, we weigh in like an ice cream bar.
Orange leaf salad bar.
All right.
Whole new meaning of sad salad when you have to pay extra for the toppings.
I'm gonna have to edit this so I don't sound like I murder children in my spare time.
The American Airlines card does not make it readily available what their lounge policy is with their card, so I cannot real-time follow up that one. But I'm not going to read their full terms and conditions. No, thank you. Yeah, so competitor cards around the horn. Me, Hyatt Surpass card, the JetBlue Club Infinite card that actually makes sense. RJ, the Delta Explorer card, and the Choice Hilton card. Okay. Tariq, it was the IHG Premier Hyatt card, the Hyatt Premier card, and what was your airline again? Sorry.
United Club Infinite Delta Reserve.
Okay. And Lonnie says, don't touch my airline card ever, but make my airline card more like a hotel card. Cool. All right. So thanks, Keith. Please let us know if we have Frankenstein your question, because we went with what we had. Our last question comes from M2K, who asks, what is your favorite beach destination that is bookable with points? I will go to Lonnie first for this question because I am a ghost.
Hawaii, full stop.
There we go. Any of the islands in particular, or just flying into Honolulu, suffering the airport because as soon as you get out of the airport, you're golden?
Yeah, if you can make it through Honolulu Airport, which I personally think is one of the worst airports on this planet of what we call Earth. But yeah, you don't need to leave like Oahu. You can stay on the main island, and there's so many different beaches. Me personally, I I like Koalina. I stay at the Disney Resort out there all the time. No, it's not a theme park, but it is a beautiful resort. They have a beautiful water park, water features, and the lagoon, the beach, well, the man-made lagoons, but the beach is right behind it. So you don't have to leave the resort if you want to, but it is just pristine over there in that part. And you can walk through all different parts. You can walk all through the shoreline of Koalina. So like the Four Seasons is right next door. Lots of different hotels are next door. Lots of things to do are all within walking distance. So my favorite beach, and then that's me saying something because I don't like beaches because I'm a shoe collector and sand will ruin a pair of shoes. But I will actually almost ruin my pair of shoes for that particular area. I usually take them off and carry them in my hand to prevent that. And I just discovered why Crocs are so popular during my cruise last year. So now I'll just take my Crocs with me next time I go. Those suckers are comfortable. And you don't have to worry about nothing.
I hate that I love those Swiss cheese sandals, man.
Like they are hideous, but you know what? I can walk. They are all terrain. I can walk in the water, in the sand, in the ocean, in a puddle, and it's just like spray them off. They are hideous, but convenient.
Worst, ugliest sin, but
also
so
comfortable.
Useful. Yes.
Do you get those little things to fill the holes, the little charms that go on them?
Hey, slow down. No,
I
don't. I go straight for the limited edition ones that are like ridiculously hard to find. That's the one that so I have two pair. The pair that I bought from the Croc store when I forgot what port we were in because I stupidly bought a pair of sandals from one of the little shacks. For y'all don't know, when you go to ports and like those types of places, everything's counterfeit. Those suckers were broke before I got back to the ship. Luckily, though, the actual flagship Croc store on the way back to the ship. So we stopped in there. They had like buy one, get one 50% off or something. So like, sure, got a pair, got my son a pair, which really sucked because his pair only cost like $20 anyway. So I only got, I didn't really get 50% off. I didn't really save anything. I should just got two adult pair, but whatever. And that's how I got the first pair, realized they were comfortable, rocked them for the rest of the cruise. And then when I got home, I actually got like the Michael Jordan pair of them all, like the designer pair, because I'm like, if I'm going to wear them, I'm actually going to I'm going to rock them. So here we are. You know what? Maybe I'll go grab them in the next pod for the next episode so y'all can see which ones that I got. But anyway, that's it. I like Hawaii. Favorite beach.
There we go. Tariq, if you could spare the Hyatt points, any particular beach that you'd want to book on points?
Yeah, it's probably going to be Cancun. I've been to Cozumel on a cruise. I'm pretty partial to Mexico, like the beaches. Nice weather. And there's some pretty good all-inclusives. The all-inclusive resorts are really great in Mexico versus like if you find them in the States. So throw me on an all-inclusive beach side. I'll have all the food and all the drinks I want. I'll be fat and happy.
There we go. Beaches, points, I have not gone into researching this very heavily. I am someone who is basically perma-burned from the elbow to the wrist from sunburn. I hide from the sun, and when I'm on vacation, I tend to not go to beaches very often. So for me, I will pause on booking something with with points just because it's not my first or fifth choice. But yeah, RJ, do you happen to take any stints in between?
I get sunburn inside, and that's not a joke. So no, I don't go to the beach. I my stepbrother got married in Mexico at an all-inclusive, and one of the reasons I did not go was because I didn't want to be in pain the entire time because SPF 500 wouldn't have saved me. So no, I don't go to the beach. I don't go to the beach.
All right, there you go. With two ghostly figures on the podcast, we kind of figured that might be that might have happened. You're muted.
I know, I was just gesturing the fact that I matched this candle and this is a white candle. It's sad. I'm sorry. I can't help it.
There you go. All right. Well, that will do it for questions for this week. If you want to drop us a line for questions, please utilize the Friday show question comment section. It will make RJ's life and my life a little bit easier while we're farming for questions. You can also ask questions on the Stack Your Points Discord in the podcast questions section, as well as utilizing our email address, which is stackyourpoints@gmail.com. Any of those options work. You can also throw a question on the Wednesday show, or we'll look for it, but we'd prefer if you use the Friday show. That'll do it for questions this week. Thanks as always for watching. We'll talk to you next week. And we're going to move over to our